We could all own sailboats. We could all have whatever we want anytime we want. There could be so much stuff that we openly shared everything. And, this could be here and now today. That's a reality we could have right now. But these people, these illegitimate overlords, this merciless gaggle of thugs that are ruling over us are mean, malicious creeps, freaks, and they are haters of humanity, okay? And they want you to hate yourself. They want you to think very little of yourself. Like, oh, you didn't get an education? Well, you're worth minimum wage. It's unskilled labor. Who cares? Well, you're doing the most important job in society. Okay, you're the farm worker picking the food. You're the truck driver trucking the food. You're the clerk storing the food, handling the food, giving you the food. Okay? And you're going to be subjugated by this class of tyrants? They make me want to vomit. Okay? So what is freedom? What is freedom? Free from what? If you're not free from these people being able to hold you over a barrel, to being beholden by virtue of the fact that these people are writing your check, okay? That's beholden. And you got to watch what you say, so you're not being true to yourself. You're denying your own conscience for your insecurity, for a buck, because of your fear of financial desperation, and your love of money and the sense of security that it gives you. You will step outside the bounds of your own conscience, and that's where you're really evil. You're really sinning. You are separated yourself willfully from the mind of God, because the mind of God says, no, be true to thyself. There's one thing that's unforgivable. That's blasphemy of the Holy Spirit of God. And what is our connection to the Holy Spirit? It's our conscience. It's saying, God, you know what? I need you. If I die right now, where do I go? These are the questions that we all have to ask ourselves. Yes, we understand fundamentally that as these God creatures that we are, we need the air we breathe. And the desire comes instinctively to breathe the air. We need the water we drink, and that desire to drink that water comes instinctively. We need the food that we put in our belly, and that comes instinctively to do those things. We need the shelter that we have, and instinctively we seek out that shelter, okay? But the most important thing we need, because we also know that we could be dead at any moment, so we need to trust a higher power, this God, that says, it's true, you were created. You are loved more than anything else on the face of this earth. You're more important. Just friendship with me is what he's asking for. Following the commands of God is not only easy, it's actually irresistible. Okay, that's how God made it. That's what an instinct is. An instinct, if you don't do it, it feels bad. If you do it, it feels natural. Okay? And it's instinctive to want to trust in a higher power. That's very normal. That's an instinct. You want to say, I want to believe that I'm loved by this being, that this is a miraculous, almighty, creator God of the universe. There is somebody, this entity, this very good entity, powerful entity, created the solar system that I dwell in. He made all these planets revolve around the sun so that it could sustain life. He gave us water on Earth, and he created this vast design, this sundry and array of different creatures and flora and fauna and all this wonderful stuff. And it's a mystery. At least you could say it's a mystery that there's no reason why what they call these people that believe that it's all from evolution. They believe in this natural selection process. But I say, wait a minute. Does natural selection, is this an entity? What is this thing you're talking about? Is it physical? Can I see it? Does it have a brain? And if it has a brain, where did it get the brain? If it's got no intelligence, what are we talking about here? It's nonsense. To believe that you weren't designed, you weren't created, is absurdist. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. So fundamentally, we have to understand what's really, really important, and that's being right with our conscience, with God. Okay, and not selling out. And if it means you stay poor your whole life, it's better than selling your soul. Okay, because that's what's written. What benefit is it for a man to gain the entire world and forfeit his soul? So understand what's really important. Is it trusting a God that, can give you, an eternity in paradise, a perfect world, perfect down to the smallest detail? Use your imagination. Every one of us has the ability to imagine a society. How would that be? Because you're not going to be alone. I say a society, it's going to contain other people, other souls, right, are going to be there. So what will it be like? This is the one that can give you that gift, that can make each moment better than the last moment, because you've grown as a human being. You've embraced wisdom. Like King Solomon said, wrap it around your neck, bind it around your neck as the most valuable thing there is in existence. That's what we want to do. We want to understand that as long as we're on the right path, we're being true to ourselves, we're checking in every day with God and saying, lead me, discipline me, chasten me as necessary, but please, I don't want to go to hell with these monsters, this Illuminati, elitist, hypocrite class. I don't want to be down there gnashing my teeth with these people. It's going to be a miserable hellhole of social Darwinism, the survival of the meanest down there. That's what they're going to start devouring each other. That's what they do here anyhow. They're devouring us first. They'd like to destroy all decent humanity, but they're going to be miserable. So we want to check in every day and make sure that, above all, that we're being true to God and that we can't sell out. If we sell out to the sponsors, if we're a newscaster and we're selling out to our sponsors, what is that? You're going to go to hell for misleading the people. Okay, you've taught against your own conscience. You know right from wrong. Those are words with meaning and definition. You know truth from lies. Those are meanings. Those are words with definitions. Okay? And you better ask yourself, be ruthlessly honest, and say, am I, as a mainstream media newscaster, being not only true to myself, am I being true to my viewers? Or am I being beholden to my sponsors? And you've got to say, no, I'm sorry, boss, but I'm not selling my soul. Okay? You know what? You're going to have to find some other lackey, some other stoolie for this job, because I'm not doing it. I have to protect my conscience. Like fine gold or silver. It's more important that I do that. Another thing I saw on mainstream media, they were talking about these controversial ads against cigarette smoking. And they were displaying these people that were, grossly disfigured from whatever diseases they had, whether it was emphysema and or lung cancer from smoking cigarettes. And one thing they didn't touch on was what these people's diet was. They say, hey, what were these people eating? Were they living on Twinkies and Big Macs and RC Cola? And did they have any self-control? Just like any addiction out there, it can kill you, yes. They used to have these ads on TV about the methamphetamine. They'd show the before and after of these meth addicts, and it was awful to see, because these people, their teeth were rotting out after they used meth for a short period of time, and you gotta wonder. You gotta say, hey, who on earth in their right mind would do such a thing that's so poisonous, so toxic to your body, that within the course of a few years you've destroyed your health for the rest of your life? You're going to be struggling to get back what you had. But with tobacco is actually not that way, and there are, as a matter of fact, some health benefits. You got lower incidence of Alzheimer's, for example, lower incidence of breast cancer for whatever reason, I don't know. Lower incidence, I believe Parkinson's disease is listed. And in 2006, you never hear this statistic, that the oldest people in America, all the top 10 people, I believe it is top 10, were all cigarette smokers. So, go figure. So for them, this reminds me of Jesus' teaching, where he said these people, when he was referring to hypocrites, they like to strain out a gnat. Let's say they're preparing a meal and they'll, there's a gnat in the food. They'll strain out the gnat and yet swallow a camel. That's how these hypocrites are. And you offend them so easily because they're not righteous human beings. And by speaking up for the truth, standing up for the truth, you'd be hated, just like Jesus was. He explained it like this. He said, it's like walking on a dead man's grave, and disrespecting somebody and offending people without even knowing it. And that's how you fall into their snare, where they seethe with hatred like they did for Jesus, just for speaking the truth, And who was Jesus really upset with? Who did he really rail on? It was these hypocrites. It was these money changers out there, in the temple, and they're selling. These people are the same class of people, the same element today. The only difference is they've honed their skills. It's like Satan finally succeeded. I got the printing press. I got the copyright. I could buy the world by fiat. I own it all. I could just print the wealth I need and it'll buy me anything I want. It's so wicked and evil. It's so disgusting. I don't have words for it. I don't think words exist for it, but it's reprehensible and it's got to change, and that change is coming. That's the good news. That's good news, that there is a new age we're going to enter, but we've got to go through this traumatic time where we hit this figurative wall, where we know that the survivor class is rising up and we're not going to take it. And so even these establishmentarians, these criminals working within our government, they know that time is coming and they're preparing. They get more and more nervous. They're building FEMA camps. They're preparing the law enforcement. They're preparing military to fight against the American people now. Well, it might be necessary to go grab their guns, boys. So this is the kind of thing that they know is coming. They know a sea change is coming, and they are just loathing the idea, because right now they're the ones on top of the dog pile, this heap, the top of the pyramid. They're hanging out with Satan. They're hand in glove, co-conspirators, and this is what they want to do. So this is what they're going to fight tooth and nail to keep doing. But the time is coming. So there's good news on the horizon. And back to Jesus. This hypocrisy of these money changers is like this. Let's say, okay, let's play the game with these money changers. Okay, hey, I want to be one of you guys. So buy my product. You think these people are buying from each other? Like, hell no, man. No, I sell you, I rent you the money. I'm not renting your money. I wouldn't do that on my mother's grave. I swear I'd never do that. But yet they're more than willing to do it to you, because you are less than them in their mind, right? They're more important. Their well-being, their family's well-being is more important than yours. And so they will do anything to screw you. So they come, it's sorcery, trickery, deceit, lies, liar loans, the fine print. It's a metaphor for how they trick you. Okay? That's what it's all about, folks. We got to break away. We got to, in America, we need to do what they did in Iceland. And you know what they did in Iceland? They said, no, we are not legitimizing this debt these banksters have inflicted on our nation, and we're kicking your ass out. Get the hell out of here. We don't want you around. And that's what we need to do in America. All of us. Now listen, I'm not blaming your local credit union, your local bank. Listen, people will get away with, it's human nature, whatever they can. Whatever they feel they're not going to lose their butt on. Okay, whatever they feel like, well, I'm insured for those losses, right? They privatize the profits and socialize the debt. The losses go to the people. And how do you pay for it? How do the poor end up paying for it? Through a rising cost of living, or just keeping it high by legitimizing this theft of the wealth of our nation, by saying, oh, it's okay that these banksters dumped all this money, knowing they were going to blow out the pipes of the economy, dumped all this money on the housing market, raising your cost of housing through the roof, the cost of rents through the roof, taking all your income. I mean, for decades, a long-standing rule of thumb was you're an idiot if you spend more than 25-30% of your income on housing. Now let me ask you, how much do you clear on a minimum wage job today? Okay? 50 years ago, $1.25 was minimum wage. You want to know the equivalent buying power of that $1.25? Look at silver. That was 1.25 ounces of silver. What's 1.25 ounces of silver go for today? About $25, okay? So if you want to know the equivalent buying power, then you look at silver. And you look how much your currency has been debased by these people. This is how they keep you trapped. They keep the problems. Because if you just solve that one problem of unsound currency, and the evidence for unsound currency is that it's worth less tomorrow than today. Okay? That simple. That simple. Through inflation. That shows anti-progress. Well, hey, I thought it was getting easier and easier and easier to make cars and build houses with all the tools and technology out there, heavy equipment, state-of-the-art stuff. Okay? No, your price still going up. Still going up, you know? No, it doesn't make any sense. These people are doing this on purpose. They don't want the problems